Well, greetings to you. I'd like to talk to you today about the Dover invasion. Whoa, I mustn't use the word invasion, must I? It might upset the Guardian. But of course, invasion is what we're dealing with. In the same way, in Cornwall in the summer months, deal with an invasion of tourists, as does London, as does New York. It is an invasion of people who are not of that area, and that is what an invasion is. And we've got the same situation today, and it was flagged up about 3 years ago by Nigel Farage, who was the first person to actually say, just a minute, does everybody know what's going on? That we're getting hundreds and hundreds of people every week coming in. We don't know who they are, we don't know where they're from, and we don't know anything about them. And this has remained the elephant in the room now for the last 3 years. Mainstream media don't seem to want to talk about it. Backbench MPs don't want to talk about it. We don't seem to have investigative journalists anywhere interested in this particular subject. And now I gather, I'm not sure whether it's true, that there's a bill coming forward to stop us actually photographing or videoing these people coming ashore at Dover. And Anne Widdecombe tells me that it's not just Dover, it's happening at entry points all over the country, but just let's leave that for the moment. What I'd like to do is take if you will, a military perspective, a military intelligence perspective on this. And that really breaks down into what do we know and what do we not know? And that is the fundamental basis of the intelligence to look at a problem and take it from there. What the problem we have at the moment is that nobody is talking about is it seems that there's this great pretense that the government can't do anything about it and they're doing their best and they're wringing their hands and they're not very competent perhaps, or the Home Office isn't fit for purpose, and so on and so forth. None of this is actually the fact. We've got to believe our own eyes. We have to take an empirical view. What is actually happening? Let's list what's actually happening. Government-sponsored boats, whether it's the Border Patrol or national lifeboats on charter, whatever it is, are sponsored by government. These boats are going to within sight of the French coast and bringing back illegal immigrants from France and the French coast. And this has been going on for 3 years, and the numbers are now completely and utterly out of control. On some occasions, the government-sponsored boats are picked up halfway across the channel with small boats with illegal aliens on them being brought across by the French Navy, escorted by the French Navy. And when they arrive here, they're given 4-star hotel accommodation, health checks, pocket money, 3 meals a day, and so on and so forth. Now, all of this I've mentioned before, but really, this has gone so much further because nobody's asking the right questions. Nobody's asking the right questions. It appears now, unconfirmed, that once these people are here, around about 80% of these people are granted citizenship. So the end game is worth their while. And we always used to think, didn't we, that it would calm down in the winter when the channel was rough or weather was bad. And it would tail off and start again in the summer. And that's what's happened in the last 3 years. But we weren't reckoning with government-sponsored assistance. Our government is sponsoring and assisting their arrival at Dover. And of course, it goes on and on. The attraction of this to these people is great. And the attraction to the French of not doing anything about it is even greater. And I had friends back from Calais the other day who said the place has gone back to normal and it's a charming place and it's great fun because all the immigrants have left Calais and are lining up on the beaches to come across in their dinghies. All of which, of course, are expensive. The dinghies are expensive. They have life jackets, so on and so forth. And we know that these people are coming across are all male of military age. They're nearly all in between 20 and 30. They're all young men of whom we know absolutely nothing. And what we do know isn't very good. We know that some of them have criminal records in France, so on and so forth. We know some of these people aren't good people. And we know that when they're put in these hotels, we find trouble locally, especially with our female population. because a lot of these people come from areas where treatment of women is, and the attitude to women is not what it is in this country. So we have these problems. Now, all of this we know, and we're reckoning perhaps by the middle of next year, these people are going to amount to around about 100,000, which is actually bigger than men in the British Army. Now, here's the question, and I'm not trying to persuade you one way or the other. What I'm trying to do is to get you to think about it, which I know most of you are. What are these people coming for? Why are they coming? Why is the government bringing them in? I'm not buying this "we can't keep them out" line. I'm not buying it. They're being quite deliberately brought in. If we could keep out Philip of Spain, if we could keep out Napoleon, we could keep out the Kaiser, we could keep out Hitler, the idea that we can't possibly keep these people out is simply absurd, and indeed a criminal lie. Of course we could mobilise the Royal Navy tomorrow morning and tow them back. Easy peasy. And other countries have done that. Australia did that. No, these people are being deliberately brought in. And I'd like to know why and to what end. And this is the question that mainstream media should be putting to our politicians. And when we tried to talk about resettlement, it was deliberately snookered by the Prince of Wales, who said it was an appalling idea. He's now King Charles, Charles the Mad, if you will. So he scotched it. And of course, the Rwanda plan was only going to be a few hundred anyway. It doesn't begin to scrape the surface. I ask again, if there's any MPs watching the clip or members of mainstream media, why? Why are you bringing in these young men of military age in huge numbers? What is your game? As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research-based, and I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So, surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.